It's interesting with UFC, like, did you see, because you covered the early pay-per-view events in the mid-90s, and that's when I loved it, and then I kind of shied away from it when I got more into boxing, but did you foresee this phenomenon?
Not really, no. I mean, we were doing these fights in arenas around the country that were not well known. We were in Dothan, Alabama. We were in, you know, we were in Casper, Wyoming.
Yeah, Buffalo, New York.
We were in Buffalo, which was pretty well known.
Pretty well known compared to those places.
And we went to Puerto Rico, Bayamon. And we were doing these fights, and there were only 3 rules back then: no biting, no eye gouging, and no fish hooking. You know, putting the fingers inside the mouth. So that was the only rules. And there were no weight divisions, and there were no time limits. So it was the infancy of this mixed martial arts era, and I never expected it to take off the way it did. And, you know, what Dana White and the UFC have done is unbelievable. And I think it all changed when they did the Spike TV Ultimate Fighter. And it became more mainstream. And it was finally a chance, other than pay-per-view, for people to see this event and to see
the drama
these athletes.
behind it.
These athletes are awesome. I mean, a lot of these guys, they're incredibly disciplined. They're incredible. Their work ethic is unbelievable. They are top athletes, and I appreciated that way back then. I think now people are appreciating it more, but it took the organizational skills of the UFC under Dana White and in the new era to really put it all together. And now it's, you know, one of the fastest growing sports in the world.
Wow, yeah, it's amazing, and it's interesting. Also, feeds into the dynamic of like rural America. You know, that dynamic of the kids that are into the wrestling, you know, into WWE. They see something now that's real. That's you know, like it's not rehearsed.
You know, and I did a lot of boxing, and I even did the tough man competition. So I was doing a lot of different mixed martial arts and tough man world championship and boxing. I was a freelancer from '94 to '97, and I would just be doing a lot of these events all over the place. And, you know, it was the evolution of mixed martial arts, and the tough man didn't really pan out, and the boxing has gone through some ups and downs.
The NFL draft coming up. It's interesting. Kenny Britt could be drafted by the Giants.
Kenny Britt. You know, the Giants could pick him late in the first round. You know, early in the year at Rutgers, he dropped some balls. And the Rutgers offense didn't click at all, and Mike Teal wasn't sharp early on. But towards the second half of the year, Kenny Britt was a monster.
Yes.
And he's got the size. He's got the speed.
4.47.
He's going to build that chest up more. He's always had a decent physique, but he can fill out. And I think he will be a big-time NFL receiver. You want a guy who can go across the middle. You want a guy who can catch passes. I think he could be a very good pro, and the Giants are going to need something to replace Burris, whether they make a deal or make the draft early on and pick 1 or 2 wideouts. I think he'd be a great choice. I'd love to see Kenny, and I do a lot of the Rutgers stuff, so he's one of my guys from way back. You know, I covered him since he was a freshman, and I've seen his progress, and he was just fantastic this year.
Yes, indeed, and 3rd-team All-American too, which is great for him as well. And yeah, I interviewed Jamal Westerman actually at the Test Sports Club's facility where they do a combine training and stuff like that.
They've done a good job down there in Jersey, right?
Yeah, in Jersey, Martinsville,
last couple of years, and that's where Flacco was last year.
That's right, Flacco and Eric Foster, who ended up starting for the Colts. Isn't that wonderful?
Colts.
Undrafted and ended up starting for the Colts.
Guys do
Rutgers
that,
guy.
And Rutgers has got a bunch of guys in the pros that have earned Super Bowl rings in the last few years.
Shaun O'Hara recently.
And this year, they had another Darnell Stapleton with the Steelers, and there was a Willie Colon from Hofstra. So 2 of our guys, 2 of our local guys, both in the offensive line, both get championship rings, Super Bowl rings.
Great thing, great. And Colon has turned out to be a very good player, that's for sure.
He's a really good story from the Bronx. When I interviewed him after the game, you know, his mom was next to him, and she was crying, and the brother was with him too. It was he had been through a very difficult time, had lost he might have lost his dad, and so they were sharing in the joy of the night, and then the recent sorrow that they had gone through. But great story. We love Cardinal Hayes High School. I love our local guys, and it's fun to watch them develop and to go back and to realize what it means to be a New Yorker.
Absolutely.
They don't forget their roots.
Absolutely, especially someone like a Manny Ramirez.
Washington Heights, I always wanted to do an interview with his barber. You know, that was a big deal. I went up to Washington Heights and got his high school coach one time and did some pieces up there with Manny. But, you know, when you think about the great, I mean, Lou Gehrig is Commerce High School.
Absolutely.
You think about, you know, the basketball, Lew Alcindor.
Lew Alcindor,
Memorial, Billy Cunningham from Erasmus.
And also, of course,
Bob Cousy, Andrew Jackson,
Nate Archibald,
DeWitt Clinton. I mean, Dolph, Schayes, all these guys are New York guys that, you know, that are legends. You know, when you talk about Sid Luckman.
That's
I think he's Erasmus. New York City has produced all of these stars for so many years.
And Al Davis too, as well. You know, a great leader. So from Brooklyn too.
He's another Brooklyn guy. The world was born. Everybody was born in Brooklyn.
It seems like it definitely. I'm a Queens guy myself, but hey, you know, Brooklyn. I got a lot of respect to it.
Where was pizza invented? You know, where was everything invented? It's funny. We always go back to Brooklyn. But Manhattan has had some great players, and you know, guys from Queens, and the same thing goes through for Staten Island and
the Bronx,
and the Bronx. And the Bronx has had you know legendary athletes come out of there. So
yeah, that's for sure. Wow, great tradition.